um, a universal quality that people all around the world are carrying right now and developing that is can't be turned back by bad government and bad culture. I think that it's just amazing how global, particularly with shows like this and the internet and the 21st century communications, how global consciousness has become.
How about the idea that, or rather, are you concerned in one regard that maybe more local symbols, archetypes, gods and goddesses are being lost in all of this, or do they all kind of in one way represent the same forces anyway? So it doesn't really doesn't really matter which one we turn to, or what would you say to that?
Well, let me turn that question back on you for a moment and ask you, are there in particular certain types of sacred images that you feel are being threatened now in a way that concerns you?
Well, I'm asking the question because I can only see what has happened, I guess, here up in Sweden, for instance, where for a time it was even considered, racist to identify with Thor or carrying a Thor's hammer around your neck, whatever. And if we look around in some of the major cities up here, we have statues of Greek gods and goddesses. We have Poseidon here in Gothenburg, for instance, at the main avenue or the main strip, as it were. And I'm wondering what the heck happened to all the indigenous original gods that we had up here. And I see that it's kind of in that sense, a monoculture that is spreading out throughout the world. And I guess I don't know if that really is a concern, but I'm curious about it, and I wonder how that actually affects us.
Well, that's really interesting, and I hear where you're coming from there, and that is interesting. I think that the problem always is about identification and attachment to anything, and if the thing about these archetypal energies is that they carry this collective mentality with them. I mean, we can look at some of the great, disasters of human history, like the Holocaust and things like that, which emerged around certain archetypes where they became very strong in the collective consciousness, and a certain kind of mob mentality operates when you're tapping into an archetype on a societal level that in some way forces or activates people to behave in ways that they wouldn't do individually.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a certain kind of mob mentality that could take place, and that's concerning.
Yeah.
But if you look at any one of those, and that's happening, that happens all over the place in different forms. Certainly in the last U.S. elections with the left and the right, we could see all kinds of permutations and energies emerging in different ways. And yeah, that's concerning. That's why, because when you deal with the depths and the archetypes of the psyche, which are deep parts of ourselves, are deeper than our learned knowledge we're born with, and they're activated. The archetypes are activated. That's why tools, I think, like the tarot, like the I Ching, perhaps, like some of these other time-tested, universal symbol systems that are really based on the perennial philosophy, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
are particularly valuable because we need kind of the wisdom. We need to be able to find human wisdom that's timeless during periods of history where we're being flooded by all of this kind of nationalistic or all these energies that are short-sighted.
Do you think that these have been how should I put it, important at that specific time to live through in order to, what I'm thinking of is certain interpretations of the Mayan calendar, for instance, about the different energies that we've been going through as a kind of a evolutionary cycle in regards to our psyche or our awareness, and that the nationalistic mindset has been important, but only for a certain amount of time. But in a way, now we've kind of stuck in that, if you know what I mean. And the importance, I guess, what you're saying is that we need to maybe move on from that in one sense, or am I on the right path? What do you think?
Right. Now, I think you're making important observations about what's going on in cultures, and I agree. What the solution is from my vantage point, it's not replacing bad gods with good gods.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's still or bad archetypes with good archetypes. It's more developing awareness and a level of consciousness to the now, you could say, or to the unconditioned, that can hold these archetypal energies differently, that are not at the effect of them. They're not being basically manipulated and dominated by these powerful energetic potentials that are in their deep subconscious, but rather are now out on the table in front of them, and they still are able to maintain enough presence and self-awareness to work with the energy from a mindful, conscious way without losing oneself in a belief system.
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Yeah. Very, very good point. And why don't we begin to run things up here for the first hour and talk a little bit more about the DVD that you're in as well, The Great Work. I want to mention a little bit about that, and then we can talk a little bit more about how people can get a copy of the Tower of the Nine Paths. Is that out yet, or is that going to be out later in the summer?
It's being printed as we speak, and it will be available by the end of the summer, though I am taking orders now, so if people over my website, so if people are interested, they can just contact me on that. It will be out and available, widely available, in late August or September.
Great. Mention your website again for people who want to go there and check it out.
It's artrosengarten.com, and Rosengarten is spelled with a T-E-N, like T as in tarot, Rosengarten. And that's how you'll see that I have a whole lot of things on my website with maybe 100 articles on various topics, like we're discussing, images of the deck, and information about my book Tarot and Psychology and Synchronicity, and other interesting things that I think your audience will find interesting.
Very good. And I also want to mention The Great Work again, that for people who are interested in listening to this program. I talked with the producer Venetia, and she's offered the Red Ice audience 25% discount. You can just, if you go into the website magicalegypt.com and type in art, A-R-T, in the coupon code box. That's for Arthur Rosengarten, obviously, art, in the coupon code box. You'll get a 25% discount. But head on over to the website magicalegypt.com and check out some of that, because there's trailers up there that people can take a look at in case they're interested. And this is some of the things that we've been talking about here in regards to the sandbox therapy and so forth that we've been discussing. So definitely take a look at that. But Art, let's begin here to run things up. Hour one, I definitely want to talk more about you after our break in our member section about the importance of the number 9. Maybe we can go into a little bit more about synchronicity, symbolism, and also I guess the importance of history and how kind of that goes together in regards to the unconditioned, in a way of how can we keep a memory, if you know what I mean, of history, and at the same time kind of moving to the new. It was learn from history, but yet moving to the new. So that's some of the things I'd like to discuss with you. But stay with us, Art. Thank you very much for this first hour. We're going to take a little break here, and we will be right back. Thank you for listening. We will continue talking more with Art Rosengarten. We're going to discuss the importance of 9, the number, and what it represents. We're also going to talk about the shadow aspects of ourselves, the ego, history, the apocalypse, death wish, polarization, illusion, the unconscious mind, and more on the tarot. So don't miss this second segment upcoming with Art Rosengarten. Join us in our member section. Head on over to RedIceCreations.com, click on members to tune in, or click on subscribe if you're currently not a member. Sign up, try it out for 3 months. You'll get full access to our website with much more radio, films, video interviews, and webcasts. We'll take a short break, stay with us, and we'll be right back for our members.